Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast Special Edition series, and this is the end of it, where I provide my official predictions for the 2024 Major League Baseball season. Go division by division, then we'll do the playoffs, and then we'll do the big awards at the end. All right, so we'll begin with the AL East. I have winning the division with the record of 162. The Baltimore Orioles, they have no injuries to speak of. Corbin Burns is going to lead that rotation. Adley Rutschman is awesome. Gunnar Henderson's awesome. Jackson Holliday's going to be up at some point. And this team, I think, is going to be very dangerous. In second, I have the New York Yankees, the record of 95-67. I have them getting the first wild card. I think the injury to Garrett Cole will cause a slow start. And I think in the second half, the Yankees are going to turn it on and potentially get an addition at the trade deadline that could help them. Aaron Judge and Juan Soto are going to lead that lineup. And then obviously once Cole comes back, he'll lead the rotation. 3, I have the Toronto Blue Jays at 88-74. I have them spoiler alert, not in the playoffs. I have them losing a tiebreaker to somebody. But 88 wins and not in the playoffs. We saw that a couple times recently. But I think the Blue Jays are that this year. They still have a lot of questions in the rotation and even in their lineup to some extent. They lost Matt Chapman. I love Vladdy Jr. I love Bo Bichette. We'll see how the pitching holds up in Toronto. 4 of the Tampa Bay Rays at 79-83. I just think they take a step back with losing Wander Franco and Shane McClanahan. I think their rotation is still going to be very good with Aaron Civale and Ryan Papuai. And Randy Arozarena in the lineup. And we'll see if Jose Siri repeats the year he had. And 5, I have the Boston Red Sox at 66-96. I just think this team's a mess. They have no elite starting pitching to speak of. Rafael Devers is going to put up his stats. And they have some young guys that they're going to call up and be excited. So at least they got that going for them. The AL Central in first, I have the Minnesota Twins at 90-72. The AL Central, I think, is going to be a little closer than you think this year. Thought about picking a different team to win, but didn't want to go there. The Twins have a good offense. Royce Lewis and Byron Buxton. I think Carlos Correa bounces back. We'll see with the pitching. In second, I have the Cleveland Guardians at 88-74, and I have them snagging the final playoff spot. I love this Guardians team. Shane Bieber, Tristan McKenzie leading the rotation, and Gavin Williams. And then you have Jose Ramirez, who's capable of putting the team on his back. Kind of, Devers is like this in Boston, but Cleveland has the pitching to do it. 3, I have the Detroit Tigers at 75-87. Not a big fan of this Tigers team. I just think they're bound to disappoint. But 75 wins isn't a disaster for them. Spencer Torkelson, Casey Mize is coming back from injury. AJ Hinch still there. 4, I have the Kansas City Royals at 70-92. I don't think the Royals are that good yet. They had a high win total too. Their starting pitching's very weak. Their lineup has a chance to be fun. I love Bobby Witt Jr. He's so much fun to watch. I like Vinny Pasquino. We'll see if he bounces back. And 5, I have the Chicago White Sox at 63-99. They're going to continue to blow up this roster. Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez are still there. Yan Moncada is still there. Garrett Crochet's in the rotation now. We'll see how that works. The ALS in first, I have the Texas Rangers at 92-70. I got to give the reigning champs the respect they deserve. They're going to get Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom back in the second half of the year, and that's why I have them ahead in that division. And they have the offense to score a lot of runs and hold off everyone in that division with Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, Avasale, or not Avasale, Garcia. Who's the Garcia on the Rangers? Adolis Garcia. But yeah, they're loaded, Texas. In second, I have the record of 89-73 to Houston Astros. I think that they are a team that should not be favored to win its division. Them and the Yankees are the two teams that shouldn't be favored to win their divisions. That's just my opinion. They're similar to the Yankees in ways that their roster's aging and a lot of aging stars. Verlander, I don't know if he's going to be as good. Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman, still around. Relying on a lot of guys to take big steps forward. 3 to Seattle Mariners, 84-78. I think the Mariners take a step back. They did not make the playoffs last year. I don't think they make it again. Like the roster, I think they're in the mid-80s. They lose Suarez. They remake the team, and I like their young rotation. I like Castillo, though. 4 of the Los Angeles Angels at 70-92. They stink. Mike Trout is going to have to put that team on his back if they are to do anything, kind of like the Red Sox with Devers. Anthony Rendon's never healthy. Obviously, they lose Ohtani. Their pitching is just horrific. And in the cellar, I have the Oakland Athletics at 55-107. The A's are really bad. They're still bad. But is there a way they're worse than last year? And we'll see if Paul Blackburn and Brent Rooker are still on this team in September. All right, the National League. The East, I have winning division at 101 or 107-55. I have the Atlanta Braves. I just think the Braves are awesome. Ronald Acuna, Austin Riley, Marcell Ozuna, Matt Olson, Chris Sale added to the rotation to go with Spencer Strider and Max Fried. They're locked and loaded. And they got Aaron Bummer from the White Sox, who they overpaid for. In the trade, too, I have the Philadelphia Phillies at 97-65 as the first wild card. This Phillies team's really good. They're going to have the most wins of a team that's going to be a wild card, them and the Yanks. I think Bryce Harper's going to have a big year. The Castellanos is still there. I think there's a chance they trade for somebody like Mike Trout midseason. I predicted that on the Angels show. But we'll see if that happens. JT Realmuto's still there, and then they have Stott and Alec Boehm, Wheeler, Nola, and Ranger Suarez at the rotation. 3 of the Miami Marlins at 83-79. The Marlins, I think, are better than you think. They have some talent. They don't have Alcantara, which is a big blow for them. And that's why everybody's penciling them in as the 4th team in the division. They're making out Alcantara to be like if the Yankees lost Aaron Judge the whole season, or if the Guardians lost Jose Ramirez, or if the Red Sox lost Rafael Devers. Like, they weren't bad without Devers, but like the Guardians would be good to really bad without Ramirez. So I think that's a good comparison. But I think they have the depth in the lineup and in the rotation to overcome it. Jake Berger, really good post-trade deadline for them as a hitter. They're relying on some young guys to leap. Jazz Chisholm I like. Jesus Sanchez I like. And even in the rotation, Jesus Luzardo showed some promise. So I think they can surprise. 4th, I have the New York Mets at 77-85. I just don't like this Mets team at all. Cody Senga's hurt. The rotation's really bad compared to where it was at the start of last season. The lineup has a chance to be okay. I like Alonso and Lindor in the lineup. But they're relying on guys to make leaps like Francisco Alvarez and Brett Beatty. And in fifth in the division, I have at 57 and 105 the Washington Nationals. I just think the Nationals are still really bad. Their bullpen stinks. I think they're going to trade some guys. And I forgot to mention for the Nats, for them to have a successful season, I'd say it's mid to high 70s in wins, kind of like the 22 Orioles. But I do like Josiah Gray and Mackenzie Gore in their rotation. And I think C.J. Abrams can make a leap, and Dylan Cruz can get called up at some point. So maybe there is optimism in the second half of the year for them, but I'm just not a fan of the roster right now. All right, the NL Central. In first place, I have the record of 92 and 70, the St. Louis Cardinals. I think it's a big bounce-back season for them. Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado are really good players. They're relying on Jordan Walker to make a leap. Will Dylan Carlson bounce back? So they do have some questions. And will Sonny Gray live up to the contract as a number one starter? And how's the middle rotation going to look? Will Gallegos bounce back in the bullpen? In second, I have it the record of 85 and 77. And snagging a wild card spot, the Chicago Cubs. There's your surprise postseason team. This is with the thought of them potentially making a move at the deadline. I think Imanaga is going to have an impact in that rotation. I think Kyle Hendricks is going to be better. I think that Justin Steele will take a step. And I think that lineup will be better. And I think Pete Crow Armstrong will get called up. Patrick Wisdom could hit them out of the ballpark. They have some veterans I like as well. And obviously the manager upgrade certainly helps with Clark Counsell there now. In third in division, I have with 84 and 78. I almost picked them to make the playoffs, but I didn't because of a move somebody made, the Cincinnati Reds. I like this Reds team a lot. I think that Hunter Green has a chance to take the next step. But the question is, does Graham Ashcraft, does he improve? Some other their guys improve in their rotation. I think they'll make a move for somebody to help their rotation. I really like the lineup. Ellie De La Cruz, Christian Encarnacion Strand, Tyler Stevenson. Will Noelvi Marte be up in time? Fourth, I have the Milwaukee Brewers at 67 and 95. I think this is a blow it up and reboot year for them. I think Christian Yelich and William Adames could be traded at the deadline. But really, what it's going to be is the Jackson Chourio show. And they're relying on Bryce Terang to make the next step. Rotation will Willie Peralta get traded. I almost said Wandy Peralta, but he's a reliever. Will Peralta get dealt? Brandon Woodruff's not pitching this year. And let's see if there are any other young pitchers they have step up. And the Saturday NL Central, 64-98, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Their win total is in the 70s, and I thought it was absurd. But somebody's got to be bad in this division. Andrew McCutchen is back again. To be like a veteran leader type of guy. Could Brian Hayes, O'Neal Cruz will bounce back after the injury. Brian Reynolds. So they have some talent in the lineup. I just don't know if I trust their rotation. Outside of Mitch Keller, who has gotten better. Aroldis Chapman's on this team now, but I think he's going to be traded. And then the NL West, I have in first the Los Angeles Dodgers at 110 and 52. This team is a machine. They're going to be a machine. Shohei Ohtani's there now with Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Max Muncy. Teoscar Hernandez is also on this team now. And then you have Yamamoto in that rotation with Tyler Glasnow, who is another big addition. So this team is obviously sick and tired of losing in the first round. So good on Dodgers ownership for going out and spending money. But we'll see about the bullpen. Evan Phillips is slated to close games. He was good last year. We'll see if he's good again this year. In second, I have the Arizona Diamondbacks at 85 and 77. I have them as the fifth wild card in the National League. I initially had them out of the playoffs, but they signed Jordan Montgomery, so I put them in. So the rotation now is Montgomery, Eduardo Rodriguez, who they picked up as a free agent, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, and then Brandon Pfaadt. So I love the Montgomery pickup. Absolutely love it. And then their lineup's really good. They brought back Lourdes Gurriel. They still have Ketel Marte. They really put themselves together a nice lineup for sure. Then we'll see about the bullpen. Third, I have the San Diego Padres at 84 and 78. So I have the Padres one game out of the playoffs. So they won't look at that as successful. I don't think I would either if I'm them, but not terrible after getting rid of Juan Soto. But they still have Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis and Xander Bogaerts, Jake Cronenworth. They have Jackson Morel starting now on the team. Rotation stacked with the Dylan Cease pickup to go with Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish. And Michael King, who they got in that Yankees trade. I think the bullpen's going to be better with some of those Yankee guys and Robert Suarez closing out games. In fourth, I have the San Francisco Giants at 78 and 84. Someone has to disappoint in this division. I think it's going to be San Francisco. I think Blake Snell's going to be good for them in their rotation. And Logan Webb, obviously. But outside of those two, who do I trust? Will Kyle Harrison be an impact rookie like they think he's going to be? But what about outside of him? All right, the lineup, Matt Chapman and Jorge Soler come in. But I don't really know if either of those guys are going to be awesome because of the ballpark. And maybe they'll get hits, but they're not going to be hitting for power in that ballpark. I know Mike Yastrzemski be better. That's another interesting one for them as well. And at the bottom of the division, 56 and 106 record of the Colorado Rockies. They're terrible. Will Chris Bryant be traded? Will Kyle Freeland get traded? Who else steps up in that lineup? Charlie Blackmon, does he throw back the clock? Or turn back the clock? We'll see. They have a lot of questions. All right, the American League playoffs. Wild card. So I have the Guardians against the Twins. Believe it or not, I'm actually going with an upset with the Guardians with their pitching with Shane Bieber and Tristan McKenzie. I'm going to go Guardians over Twins in 3. And then the other wild card series, I have the Yankees against the Astros as the 4-5. I think the Yankees finally get revenge on them in a short series with Garrett Cole back and healthy. Justin Verlander's not the same. So I'm going to go with Yankees in 3 over the Astros. National League wild card, 3-seed Cardinals against the 6-seed Cubs. Good in division series. I'm going with St. Louis and the firepower in that lineup in 3 over the Cubs. And then an NLCS rematch from a year ago, 4-seed Phillies against the 5-seed Diamondbacks. I just think the Phillies are better because of their pitching. I think it's Phillies in 2 over the Diamondbacks. All right, the ALDS. I have Orioles against the Guardians. I think this Orioles team and their offense is going to overwhelm the Guardians. So I'm going to say the Orioles over the Guardians in 4. And then I have the 2-seed Rangers against the 4-seed Yankees. And for this one, I'm going to go with the Rangers over the Yankees in 4 as the Yankees lineup veterans start to show their age a little bit. And Texas will have Scherzer and DeGrom back. NLDS, 1-seed Dodgers against the 4-seed Phillies. I think the Dodgers finally come to life in the postseason. I think this is a great series. I'm going to say the Dodgers over the Phillies in 5. And then the 2-seed Braves against the 3-seed Cardinals. I just think the Braves are better than the Cards. They're overwhelmed them. I think this is a sweep. Braves over Cards in 3. The ALCS, Orioles Rangers, so rematch of the ALDS last year. I just think that the Orioles are going to be better with Jackson Holliday on the team. Corbin Burns is an ace that can carry a rotation in the playoffs. So I'm going to go with the Orioles, your 1-seed over the 2-seed Rangers in 6. In the NLCS, 1-seed Dodgers against the 2-seed Braves. I think this is going to be a classic. But managing is a big deal. I know both these guys have won World Series, but one of them was more recent than the other, and that is Snicker instead of Roberts. And I think that the Dodgers' rotation depth isn't as strong as it used to be. Unlike the Braves, so I'm going to go with the 2-seed Braves over the 1-seed Dodgers in 7 games. All right, so the World Series, I have the 1-seed in the American League, the Baltimore Orioles, against the 2-seed in the National League, the Atlanta Braves. Really, really good series in my mind. Talent everywhere. But I think the better team is the Atlanta Braves, led by Ronald Acuna Jr., so I'm going to go with the Braves in 6 over the Baltimore Orioles as my 2024 World Series pick. And my World Series MVP, I'm going to go with Ronald Acuna Jr. All right, regular season awards. American League MVP, I'm going to go with Aaron Judge. He's the best player in baseball, I think, when he's healthy. He's proven that. I think he dodges injuries this year. And he challenges his own record. I actually predicted he was going to break his record on the Yankees podcast. So I'm going to stick with that. And I think in the result of that, he wins the AL MVP. The Cy Young, I'm going to go with Corbin Burns. I think he comes to the Orioles and makes an immediate ace impact. And that is something that the Orioles have lacked since for a very long time. Rookie of the Year, I'm going with Jackson Holliday. I think he's going to come up and be awesome for the O's and give them a much-needed spark and depth in their lineup. Manager of the Year, I'm going with Stephen Vogt of the Guardians. I think he gets the Guardians to the playoffs in his first year. Comeback Player of the Year, I'm going with Mike Trout. He's still really good, and I think he's going to put up the statistics and dodge the injury list. In the Mariano Rivera Award, I'm going to go with Emmanuel Clase of the Guardians. And I forgot to do runners-up. I'll do that real quick. MVP runner-up, Corey Seager. Cy Young runner-up. That's a hard one. I'm going to say Shane Bieber. Rookie of the Year runner-up, Wyatt Langford. Manager of the Year runner-up in the American League. That's a good one. I'm tempted to say Aaron Boone, but the narrative is so bad around him with the Yankees and such. But the media narrative isn't bad. It's just the fan base. So, Manager of the Year, runner-up. I guess I'll go with Rocco Baldelli of Minnesota. Comeback Player of the Year, runner-up. In the American League, I am going to say the runner-up for that will be Giancarlo Stanton. And then the Mariano Rivera Award runner-up is going to be Josh Hader. National League, MVP, I have Bryce Harper. I just think he's going to have a big year, full season at first base, no injuries, and he's just capable of carrying the team. Cy Young, I'm going to go with Max Fried. Everyone's picking his teammate, Spencer Strider. but I'm a Max Fried fan, and I'm Team Max Fried. Rookie of the Year, I'm going with Jackson Chourio of the Brewers. I just think that he's going to have an impact on that team, and he's actually starting the season with the team. Manager of the Year, I'm going Craig Counsell. I have the Cubs in the postseason. Comeback Player of the Year, I'm going to go with Edwin Diaz of the Mets, who I think is going to be traded potentially to the Cubs. And the Trevor Hoffman, we're going to go with Alexis Diaz of the Reds. And runners-up, MVP, Nolan Arenado. Cy Young runner-up, I'm going to say... that's a good one. Zach Wheeler. Rookie of the Year runner-up, I'm going to say... Ooh, that's a tough one. I know Rookie of the Year runner-up. I'm going to go bold and say Pete Crow Armstrong of the Cubs. Manager of the Year runner-up, I'm going to say Oliver Mormel of the Cardinals. Just because I think they're going to bounce back. Comeback Player of the Year in the National League runner-up, I'm going to say O'Neal Cruz. And the Trevor Hoffman Award runner-up, Edwin Diaz. So, there you have it for my predictions for the Major League Baseball season. And let's hope it's a great season.